Well, good morning, everybody. Wolfie here, doing a highway trip vlog for our 2019 Nissan Leaf SL Plus. Of course, ours is the long-range car. Good for...
in 1,000 feet, sharp left onto the I-76
never
West
mind
Ring.
my GPS. It is really freaking out this morning for some reason.
Yeah.
But at any rate, we're headed. Our destination for the day will be the Bowling Green, Kentucky. So this trip runs across two tiers. Number one is we're testing this car's capacity to deal with repeated cyclings on the DC charging network. And since it's an air-cooled battery, it will be, how does the car fare with being repeatedly cycled on a long-distance highway trip on the DC charging network. Today's not going to be a terribly long day. I've done longer. The return trip's going to be our true test. The other one is a better route planner has basically set us up to where we are hitting Electrify America for every single one of our stops. And anybody who is familiar with Electrify America, they are infamous for their unreliability.
Say the least.
So, in addition to that, with all the troubles that the CCS users have, Electrify America has contempt for Nissan Leaf users or any other car company that used the Chatamo charging plug for their cars. And yes, we understand that the world's going CCS, but the fact of the matter is there's more than a few of these out here, and they need support too.
We got two.
And Electrify America gives us exactly one charger per station. So, and what happens is that also happens to be the chargers that are known to be on the blink the most often. So, part two of this equation is, does Electrify America strand us?
Yeah.
And we shall see. At any rate, we're cruising on down the road here. We've got a little bit of our first stop says it's about 65 miles. We'll see if we actually need it. We might, because we're going to have to get it straight into the climate control. It's more of a booster charge to cleanly make it to Cincinnati. But well, we shall see. We have options on this trip to work around if Electrify America becomes a problem. So, at any rate, we will give you an update when we get further down the road.
So, I have a question real quick. Are we going to go bowling in Bowling Green?
In a quarter mile, merge onto South Broadway Street.
Yay! Vroom vrooms!
Yep. At any rate, until we are ready to give you the next update, we will talk at you in a bit. Greetings, everybody. Just figured now we have a little bit of daylight here, I'd give an update a little bit more on the parameters of our trip here. Currently we're running down 71 south, according as we head down to Bowling Green. What I've got going over here, this is the Leaf Spy app, and what this does is this gives a deep dive into the battery health, the way the car is using its resources, where and how much, and all that good stuff. So we got that sitting up where I can see it easily, without taking my eyes, way off the road to do so. Safety, What we do, and this is how I do things. I've been given a hard time for this in the past, but this is how I drive. Period. I don't care what vehicle I'm in, be it my truck, be it this, be it in one of our economical vehicles or in our road barge.
We always drive.
I drive slow and easy.
Yeah.
I'm not in this deal where I've got to drive 90 miles an hour to get anywhere. Now, for a car like this, there's the benefit of going a little bit further than what the car's rated at. As you noticed, I'm running around 4 miles kilowatt, 4.1, 4.2. The car's rated at 3.6 in the city or on the highway. And we're exceeding that deal. And it may allow us to actually forego the first charging stop. It'd be nice to get all the way down to Cincinnati without a charge. The idea is to drive this vehicle in such a way that you maximize the amount of distance between charges. This car has an air-cooled battery. And say what you will about it, that's what they chose to do. So we work with it. Other side to that equation is when you run a DC charge, it heats the battery up, and you're depending on air flowing through to cool it off. So the farther you go between charges, the more time you have for it to recover from that charge and cool off. Nissan has been known for this thing that's been dubbed charge gate. This shows up on 40 kilowatt cars. This is a 62 kilowatt car, where the people are having to stop often enough that the battery can't dissipate its heat, and then the car basically, when you plug it in, refuses to charge. Part of our trip is to see if there's a point where the 62 kilowatt battery will start to do that to us, because we are looking at the possibility of taking this thing on a 4-day, one-way trip to California next spring. So I want to know if the car is capable of this before we do so.
Yeah.
and end up stuck, someplace with an overheated battery and unable to go anywhere. So that's kind of where we're at. The reason why we're doing what we're doing. Why? This is a range, and again, this is a range test. So we're going to keep on going down the road. We're still at 80% battery. We're about 50 miles into the trip now, and we're still showing right around 200 miles. So I'm thinking we should be able to make it all the way to our planned charge stop just north of Cincinnati. We'll see. We've got options in Columbus to throw in a charge if we need to, as a safety. I'm not going to risk stranding us as far as making video content. It's not worth it to me. So at any rate, we're going to get on.
Comedy skit.
Yeah, well, no. me getting my butt kicked by my partner is not my idea of fun. But at any rate,
Would I do that to you?
Yes. At any rate, we're going to get on down the road, and we will give you an update here when we look at. We're about 15 miles from our planned charge stop. There's going to be a stop there anyway for a human stop. But at any rate, we'll give you an update when we get down the road. Okay, everybody, Wolfie here. We are at our first little stop. This is not going to be a long one. Basically, this is a bio break. We're running at about 6% higher charge than what they were expecting. So what we're doing is we are going to go ahead and do a charge. And so far, it looks like we're working. It's saying it's ready. So let's see what it does. Authorized. Initiating. Okay, we have our first successful stop. So 1 out of 4 Electrify America stops, and we should be good. And it sounds like it's starting to buzz up.
Initiating.
Going?
Yep, going.
Okay, with that, we're going. Hello everybody, Wolfie here. We finished our little splash charge. We actually ended up leaving 85%. Our actual state of charge was about 5 or 6% higher than what a better route planner had estimated, so not terribly bad for the numbers that we have. Actually, you'll probably won't alter those much if the rest of the trip does that. First charge stop, yep, it did heat us up. We were putting about 5 extra degrees in the battery. We'll see how well the car dissipates that. The 90 degrees isn't terrible. We're 89. Continuing to run about 4.1 miles to the kilowatt, so we're running well in excess of the car's EPA rating. Next stop will be was at Harper's Station or something to that effect. That's down just north of Cincinnati. That's going to be probably one of our longer stops, because that'll be from a low state of charge back up to about where we're at now. That's going to be our meal stop as well. That's how you plan these types of trips, where if you're going to have a long stop, that's where, and this car has the range to make that work. So we're going to continue on down the road as we get, we're about 50 some odd miles north of Columbus, And once we get into that area, we'll make an update, let you know how the car is faring. So we will talk at you then. Hello everybody, it's Wolfie here. We are now just south of Columbus. A little update here. We've actually, our driving style has brought us up to 4.4 miles a kilowatt. And the way we're going, it seems like we might actually even add possibly slightly to that figure. We will see. If that being the case, we probably would have had no problem making it all the way down to Cincinnati, even without the little splash charge that we did when we did the bio stop. At any rate, we're doing good. Battery temperature is still hanging on to that 90-degree point, and 90.2. Actually, it actually picked up a degree on the battery since our little charge stop. But that's all right. We continue to head south. Like I said, our stop is our food and large charge stops about 85 miles down the road, 175 miles worth of range. So we have a pretty good, we're running right at a 90-mile bit of reserve on the battery. So we're doing really good. So at any rate, we're going to continue to head on down the road, and we'll give another update here in a little while. Greetings everybody. I know it's only been a quick fade screen away from the last update by the time you guys see this, but we are now coming into Cincinnati. This is where our first stop is going to be. We're about 3 miles away from the charge stop, and basically it is official. We could have easily skipped the quick charge that we did on at the First Electrify America station. Take about 13% off on that. We would have been right at 15, which actually Better Planner said we would be by the time we got down here anyway. So here we are, we're almost there. That's where we're at. As you can see, the car has actually built in
half a mile, use the second from the right lane to take exit 19 toward Fields or Tell Road.
In the range. We have briefly teased 4.5 miles a kilowatt. We'll see if we get that back on the diesel getting off the highway.
Use the second from the right lane to take exit 19.
Be back on here in a second when we're at the charger.
Okay.
Well, here we are. We got a little worried here. We're at a Walmart here. We're on the Kentucky side. We are plugged in. This is EVgo. This will be a freebie for us. But it didn't want to talk to the car for a minute, so we were beginning to wonder if the car was developing an issue. So something to keep an eye on, I guess. Yeah. But we are charging. It is working, and we're going to go get us some food because we're going to be here a little bit. So at any rate, we will talk at you later. Greetings everybody, Wolfie here. We have completed our long charge, so we are doing the red light tour to get out. So we are in Kentucky right now. I don't know what the name of the city is. Having to basically go, there's one, and poke at it to navigate there. That's how we got here. So anyway, we're getting back on the road. Our next stop, I believe, is Louisville. The battery is a little warm, or you see it showing 117 degrees right now.
Want to be in the right lane.
Half a mile.
It did start throttling the charge on this one. I figure we're going to have one more good one left before it basically starts really complaining.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing this drive for. It is hot outside.
Yeah.
But that is what it is. We'll keep on going. We'll make our destination, no problem.
Yeah.
But at any rate, we'll give you an update going down the road. Talk to you later. Okay, everybody, we are at the Electrify America here in Clarksville, Indiana. And this was our other planned charging stop. We are basically, I actually kind of wanted to skip this one because the battery is a little hot. We were able to get a successful start. This is a complimentary charge for us. So as you can see, we are officially throttled. That's probably about as good as we're going to see on as far as a speed on this charge. So we're going to go in, we're going to do the bio brake thing, and we will come back out when this thing is done. Greetings Greetings everybody, Wolfie here. We just finished up with our charge stop here. I guess it's more or less Louisville, Kentucky, but we crossed over the river into Indiana in that little corner to get to the charge stop. But we did have a successful click on that one, and it was comped free because of the troubles we've had with them, so I'll at least take that. This was throttled. As you can see, this is where our battery temperatures are. They are warm. It was a throttled stop. Got up to our 80%. Our next stop is going to be Bowling Green, so we stay the night there. Then the car will get a chance to rest and cool off before we go over to the Corvette Museum, where it'll get charged up in the morning while we're doing that tour. So, at any rate, we're going to continue on down the road. We'll give you an update as we get closer. Oh, greetings everybody. We are here in Clarksville, Tennessee. Kind of forgot to do a start of the day vlog, so I guess we'll start here. Our one and only charge of the day. We do still have a battery playing at around 100 degrees after sitting overnight, so it's good that this is the only one. But Electrify America, it worked, so at least we only lost one. But with that, we're going to go inside and do our bio break and let this thing do its bidding. So we're going to be here for a little bit, so we will talk at you later. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are in Erin, Tennessee, chilling out for now. We have the car on the trickle charger. Our first and only DC charge of the day did end up being a very heavily throttled charge, so really you're kind of at whatever you can do in the course of one day. Better be your destination and be there for a little bit to allow the battery to cool off enough to get home. So that's about the extent of what the Leaf is capable of, even on the 62 kilowatt battery. I mean, you can go farther, but you're not going to go in a long distance road trip in the thing, you know, where you're days at a time, you know, on the DC network and have a very happy car. At least the ways in the summer. Probably do better in the winter, spring and fall, where it's cool and the battery can dissipate its heat. But the 90-degree temps we've been in, the car just simply couldn't do it. So we won't be using it in the spring for a drive to California. There's no way this car would be happy and capable of handling that kind of a drive. So at any rate, it gets a couple of days to cool off. We'll be here till Saturday, and we'll kind of go from there and let it trickle on the 110 outlet to full when we commence our drive home. That'll be the stress one. That's 650 miles in one day, and judging the weather forecast, will be about as hot. So hopefully we can play the numbers well enough to skip a charge or two, and we'll see what it does. Talk ahead. Good morning everybody, Wolfie here. It is a sticky Saturday morning. At least it's in the middle 60s. I'll take that. We had our fun yesterday hanging around in Erin, Tennessee. Went to Loretta Lynn's and visited with some friends. So, any rate, this is what we're leaving the area at for battery temperatures. It is cool. We're trying to keep climate control and everything off to minimize the use of the drain on the battery. So we left with a 93% battery instead of 100 like I would have liked. So we're doing our scenic drive through Land Between the Lakes this morning as part of our drive home. So well, we'll give you updates as we head that direction. Good morning everybody, Wolfie here. Actually, probably afternoon by now. I don't know what time it is. It's 11. We're over here back at the National Corvette Museum on our return trip. We ended up doing a thing. You call it stupid, call it a gamble, roll the dice, make sure the windows are cracked. Then, but instead of going back to Clarksville, we looked at the guessometer on the car, rolled the dice and said, let's just skip that charge, go to Bowling Green. Thing is, Electrify America was the charger. So this was, will it work? Will it not work? Well, thankfully it worked. We pulled in at 8% on the battery and about 15 miles of range left. So we're here, it's charging. I'm happy it takes a charge off. I expect this to throttle because our battery is 98 degrees. Nothing we can do about it. It's just hot out here. So we're gonna let it do its thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna be here a while. We're gonna grab some food, hopefully to go, so we can bring it out here and get into the air conditioning. So, all right, we will talk at you later. Hello everybody, Wolfie here. We are at the second of our charging stops today, and as you see, the battery is quite warm. The EA station here worked, and this one was kind of expecting to work because we were at it just the other day and it did fine. But yeah, we're probably about halfway home, I guess. We've got the stop in the Cincinnati, or on the north end of Cincinnati, and then finally we can make the run home, probably having to stop for a bump charge not too far from home. We will see how this thing goes. Hopefully this will cool off some, because that's not a happy look that I'm seeing on the dash display, and the Leaf Spy is talking something to the tune of 123 degrees as I shut my phone off trying to pick it up. But oh, come on, stupid thing. There, and do that, and of course it's going to play this little game. So this is kind of an example of what we're looking at. So all we can do is sit here and wait for it to charge. I mean, we're still taking let's see, we'll say about 15 kilowatts into the battery, so we'll be patient and hopefully we'll make it home. So we'll give you an update at the next one. Greetings everybody, Wolfie here. We are at we're finally back in Ohio, and just north of Cincinnati. Got a little wet. Battery, actually kind of thankful for this weather, because it did help cool the battery down enough. So we should be able to get a decent charge out of this. Of course, this one's an EVgo station. We're going to have to watch it so we can continue it after its 30 minutes are up. I really wish they would not put that limit on these, because it's annoying. But this is a free charge for us. And I do wish the one where we live would be set out of the way like this, because it's not ice. The one in Stowe always is. But at any rate, we are making progress. Knock on wood, we have not had a charge fail yet due to heat. But we are really just running that battery right up against its limits. So at this point, we'll see if we get a full charge out of it, and we'll be ready to continue on. We'll talk at you later. Well, greetings everybody, Wolfie here. As you can see, it's a lot darker. It's actually quite late. We got charge gated down in Cincinnati. EVgo session, we actually got these shut off after 30 minutes. So we had the first charge. We had a successful 30-minute session, but needed to restart to be able to continue to get up to where we needed. And that's where the car said, nope, we're done. So we had to make a decision. First, we decided to eat dinner, make up our minds what we were going to do, and then figured we'd either give it a shot or get a room down there. But then we decided to why not make use of what we did get, to make it on down the road. That way, get some cool air running over the battery, and get over to another charging spot just at a shorter distance. So we're here in Columbus, and as that plan worked, we made that distance. So we're going to try to get as much as we can in here. Hopefully be able to get the thing up to 80%. We'll see what we got or what happens. And then hopefully from here go all the way home. That will depend on whether or not the GOM says we have enough to make that drive all the way to our destination. So we'll see what we get, and we'll talk at you later. Greetings everybody. As you can see, we're back on the road. Got our 2 sessions in, left out of there at 70%. We're at 68 now. Looking at punching this one all the way home from here. 118 miles to the house, and showing 181 miles on the GOM. Now, where we thought I was charge gated down in Cincinnati may not have been actually the case. It was down there is basically pulling the charge socket out and dropping it back in. It would try to initiate and then say no. And I figured that okay, it was basically saying it was too hot to start. Don't know. Did the same thing to me here with the car's
In 2
temperature
miles,
gauge.
use the right lane to take exit 26 for I-71 north toward Cleveland.
It was doing the same thing to me here with 1 block away from the red line on the battery. Annoyed I was going to move on to another charger. Partner gave the idea to just basically circle it back around and plug it back in and try it again. We did, and it came right up. So I'm thinking it was the user error down there. I don't know. So we'll say that we probably skirted being stranded by ChargeGate, but we are definitely teasing it. All of our charges have been well throttled, but we've been able to kind of keep going. Really, to be fair, you know, summertime travel like what we're testing here is probably asking a little bit too much out of it because of the air-cooled battery. But we're getting home, so I guess that's a success. At any rate, more as we get closer to home. Talk to you later. Bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Wolfie here. Here we are. We are on our home stretch. Down battery is about 16%. We're literally just a couple of miles from the house. Well, the car did it. I'll have a little bit more commentary on this when I can sit down and have my mind a little bit more put together. We'll kind of go over the highs and lows of this car on this trip and kind of give my assessment, you know, as to this vehicle's ability to do the long distance trips. So, but it did make it. Like I said, the one time I thought ChargeGate had finally bit us, I think when we were running into an identical problem in Columbus, ended up being user caused. So I will retract my Cincinnati claim that we were bit by ChargeGate. Definitely a lot of throttled, a whole lot of throttled charges, especially all day today. I don't think we had one that ran the full ability to the full 100 kilowatts. I think our best one all day long was like 34, and I think that was our first charge of the day over in Bowling Green. But at any rate, the car did successfully make the trip. I can say that it didn't leave us on the side of the road. But like I said, I'll have more to say on a little conclusion video I'll do this thing when I'm a little more awake.
It's 3 a.m.
Yeah. So at any rate, until then, we will talk at you later. Greetings, everybody. Wolfie here. Hey, been sitting down doing some thinking on the synopsis side of our little road trip. So basically, where we were at, as far as this car and the way it handled its trip. To make the long story short, it really isn't Nissan really missed the mark on going with the air-cooled battery. As far as driving, I mean, on an everyday scenario, you know, it's comfortable. Even going on trips, the car itself is comfortable. You know, it's got good power. I did not feel beat up after the end of a day's worth of driving. Were they really disappointed was the decision to stay with air cooling on the long-range battery. It just doesn't lend itself to long distance trips, which is one of the reasons why one would go for the long distance battery. Now, if your driving scenario is something along the lines of, say you're going to go about 400 miles, maybe 500 if it's a little cooler out, but you're only going to hit a charger once, maybe twice, and then you're going to be on be at that place for that destination for a few days to allow the battery to cool off from the charge sessions, you're probably okay. But it still remains a regional car, just a regional car with a bigger, circle around it. It said that it's there. Nissan, you really screwed the pooch not putting liquid cooling in the Leaf. That's what really disappoints me, and it actually the results of that trip and the charging on issues on the way home. I mean, like I said, the one issue that I think was caused by myself, the fact of the matter is the battery running 120 to 125 degrees netted severe throttling at the chargers, which meant time spent at the chargers. I mean, you could eat and then go sit for another hour. The last few being, 2-hour sessions. That doesn't work. That doesn't warm people up to conversion from gas to electric. That irritates and makes them mad. It was 20 hours to drive 650 miles home in this car on Saturday and into Sunday morning. That's not how you sell conversions to EV in the United States. I mean, it's a good car. I love this car. This is also kind of a segue into my year of ownership in this car. We bought this car the first weekend in August. We're now, halfway through July. So basically, this is also my assessment after my first year of ownership. Now, as far as battery degradation, they seem to be okay. I'm only down about 1 point over what is now 13,000 miles. Okay, that's, if you think about that, if you're going through those numbers, that's on par to be maintaining over 90% of the battery by 100,000 miles. That's actually good score. They at least got that much done. But the lack of the liquid cooling, it just really limits what's otherwise a very capable car for travel. And the limit is enough so that it does leave us discussing whether or not we're going to keep this car, to be fair. Don't know for sure what we're going to do. We will be discussing with a GM dealership this weekend, probably. And if they can make the numbers work, then this car will probably go away Saturday. I can't say one way or the other at this point. But I mean, over the course of a year, this thing has cost me less than $50 in maintenance. Try that with a gas car. I mean, just 2 tire rotations, and yes, I was letting the dealer do them. For 25 bucks, I'd rather sit there and have a cup of coffee and let them get dirty. It's never had a single warranty issue, which I would expect. It's been a very, very good car in that regard, as far as a commuter and staying around here and having the capacity to drive anywhere I need to in our large city area here in Northeast Ohio. I mean, I can go clear out to Cleveland and back, and down to Columbus and back, and keeping the car's operational range, and that part's good. But we do travel, and traveling more than a day to go places is a thing, and I have to say that it won't do it. I mean, it barely did it, and it did it, turning it into where, to be fair, it would have been a 300-mile-a-day car, during the hot periods, because once an air-cooled battery gets hot, it takes a couple of days to cool off. Battery temps this morning were still in the middle 90s, and we got in yesterday at 3 a.m. Just not doable. But there's that, and that's kind of our assessment, a little harsh. As far as battery charging, Electrify America, we did have the one in Cincinnati, which didn't bode me well, considering the issues I've had getting their stuff to work in the past. EVgo had one flaky connector, but it did work. And beyond that, as far as making the trip and even kind of stepping out of where there was infrastructure and back into it, it did it well. I don't have any qualms on taking an electric car on a long trip. It just needs liquid cooling. And for those who say that it's not necessary, I'm going to tell you that it is. If you're going to take a car beyond, a circle. And the reality in this country is we do. We go distances. We go 1,000-mile trips, 1,500-mile trips, 2,000-mile trips. And you go into the world of YouTube and pull up Tesla and Bolt owners. You know, multi-1,000-mile road trips are a thing, and those cars are capable of it. This one is not. And if Nissan wishes to remain competitive in that environment, they'd better get their collective heads together and figure out how they're going to do it. And they're going to need to do it in two ways. Drop the CHAdeMO charger and go liquid cooling on that battery. CHAdeMO is going to go away, and they're sticking to it only serves to obsolete the car faster, and that's not good. And again, that's not good. That doesn't help people adopt this mode of transportation. That said, I love being an EV. We still have our first gen that we bought 6 months after this. That one will continue to service us for a while. It serves us well in its little niche of operation, which is to go to the grocery store and back, or quick little jaunts not far. And so our first gen will continue to do that one. We'll see what we do with this. So until we know more, and that is it for this trip vlog. Like I said, if you stayed with me throughout all of the rambling little video, here it is. Thank you very much, and talk at you again. Greetings, everybody. Wolfie here. Well, we haven't put the other video up yet, but basically outcome of that, as a spoiler if this gets up first, is the Leaf is not an acceptable long distance road trip car. That's a thing we got to have. So we came down, we looked at this nice, pretty, absolute punch you in the face blue Bolt here. We made numbers work. I'm happy. This will do the one thing that the Leaf cannot, thanks to liquid cooled battery. So our future endeavors will be on here. So basically the Leaf, yeah. So basically the Leaf, we got one good year out of it. I can't complain about the car other than the fact that it just wasn't capable of managing its battery temp in the heat. This car has active management, so we'll continue our EV world, our EV blogging, with a bright blue Bolt EV, for our future endeavors. So until then, we will see you around.